Hey, Franklin, what the fuck is wrong with you? Thanks for your concern, Blanksy. Thank you very much. The reason why I'm down in the dumps is I've just been notified about the horrible fate of Amanda Waller. Oh, she was shot in cold blood. It's so sad. Oh, God. Yeah, sure. Yeah, she was shot in cold blood. Yeah, that's totally what's going on there. Oh, no, nothing else. Just shot in cold blood. Yes, and I'm very sad. She was a close friend of mine, although she would never say that she was. In fact, she would often deny it, to the point of hitting people in the face when they would ever even insinuate such a suggestion. But I still knew it was true. I knew that she was good friends with me because she would always do reviews with me. Yeah, sure, yeah. That was totally the version of Amanda Waller that got shot. Yes, it totally was the version that's from this continuity, and not the CW's. Whoops! Oh God, I speared the cats out of the bag. Oh dear. Wait, well, what cats? I don't see no cats here, and there's also no bag. Abomination, are you suffering from schizophrenia? You're too stupid to understand what I'm saying. Thank God. It would have been the death of me. Well, what the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, nothing, Gravitalk. Don't you have an audience to address right now? Oh, yes, right, yes. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Gravitalk, where I, the Gravitan, discuss a recent movie that's been splattered across the silver screen, and the latest one is, as of this recording, is 10 Cloverfield Lane. Yes, 10 Cloverfield Lane, okay? Now don't be all like, whoa, what about that other one? That's, No, fuck you, it's 10 Cloverfield Lane, as of this recording. Anyway, yes, now, I was originally going to invite Parallax to the show to talk about it with me, because he's usually the giant big monster go-to guy for that kind of thing. I always bring him back for the big giant monster things, or at least I started to, but for some reason he's never accepted back my calls recently. For some reason, he's a no-show. I'm not exactly sure. He's not accepting my calls. I'm not sure what's going on with him. Maybe he had to go do some space business, with other space entities like Galactus and Storro and Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yes, that's probably what's going on. He's probably just dealing with, some personal business, which is, so that was fine. Naturally, that would mean that I would have to invite a different giant monster type villain. And of course, that is you, Abomination. Yep, that's me. I can't believe you didn't invite me to the bloody Hateful Eight review. I was actually in that movie. Yeah, I remember. Sorry about that. By the way, you look completely different. You had a complete overhaul on your body. You know me. I always, I try to adjust my body to a part, That's what I always do. I'm just like Christian Bale, this role requires me to be fat. Okay, I'll be friggin' fat. Oh, this role requires me to be anorexic. Yes, I'll be friggin' anorexic and almost die. Oh, for the movies. Plus, this movie has, or at least it appears appeared so at first that it had some connections to a particular movie that came out in 2008. The same year that, where you had your breakout role, of course, The Incredible Hulk, of course, which was one of the movies that jump-started the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Actually, that was Iron Man. People don't bloody remember Incredible Hulk, and even if they do remember, they still even doubt that it's a part of the cinematic universe. Really? That's bullshit. I mean, it has Tony Stark in it. And General Ross is coming back from that movie. He's coming back, and it's the same actor and everything. So that should be more than enough confirmation that it is in the same continuity. Yeah, fuck those people. They can just have my big bones stuck up their ass. Just as long as you mean your literal bones. Or whatever floats your boat. You know, I don't judge. But anyway, yes. So we're discussing a movie that came out during that same year, and I guess had more cultural impact than your movie did. In fact, a lot of movies from 2008 had more of a cultural impact than your movie. Oh, just way to just rub it in, huh? You just want to keep rubbing it in. Yes, I get it. My movie didn't do shit. Alright, I get it. Iron Man was more impactful. The Dark Knight was more impactful. The friggin' Wall-E was more impactful. Yeah, I think even Indiana Jones 4 was more impactful, except in a negative way. But still, people probably remember that movie better for hating it than they do for feeling indifferent about your movie. Shut the fuck up, okay? I get it. Okay, alright, just about every other movie in 2008 was better than mine. Okay, shut the fuck up. Alright, yes, even bloody Cloverfield. Yes, that's where the point that I was getting to. Cloverfield, yes, a Cloverfield. Now, there is a very interesting history behind this movie, Cloverfield, from 2008. You see, Cloverfield was released, when Cloverfield first had its very first teaser back in the summer of 2007, 1 year prior, it had a very, very ambiguous teaser. Very ambiguous. Just like a party, and the party gets interrupted by a big old banging roar, and everyone's like, "What the fuck is that?" And then the Statue of Liberty got decapitated, and everyone was like, "Oh my god!" And then that was it. That was it. It didn't even have a title. It just had a date. It just had a date for when it would come out. And this took the internet by storm. Like, holy fucking shit! What the fuck is this movie? What the fuck is it? What is it? What is it? And everyone had these guesses, and everyone kept, thinking and wondering, and there were all of these guesses of what it could be an adaptation of. Like, people were thinking, oh, is this an adaptation of Voltron? Is it an adaptation of the freaking Bible about the devil? Is it an adaptation of Cthulhu? Are we finally getting a Cthulhu movie? What is the fuck is going on? And then when we finally got our answer, it was just some generic monster. That's all it was. It was like an amphibian dinosaur is basically what we got. And it's not an adaptation. It was just something that, I don't know, J.J. Abrams pulled out of his ass. And he was like, hey, let's have an ambiguous teaser. But hey, but hold on just 1 minute. Okay, 2 points about this, though, in defense. One is that it not necessarily was that generic, because the whole point of this monster was that JJ was trying to create America's own equivalent to Godzilla. Yes, to Godzilla. Godzilla. And Godzuki. Yes, he was trying to recapture the magic of Godzilla, and he was trying to do it in an original way. He was trying to recreate that magic, but do it in a specifically American, good old-fashioned, modern American way, in a original type way, is what he was trying to do with that. And he was kind of successful. I mean, a lot of people remember Cloverfield. You know, most of them remember it for being let down. But it depended on how you were. It depends on what you want from it. If you wanted something that would blow your mind because of all the hype up to it, then you probably wouldn't get that. But if you appreciate the movie for what it is trying to be, you might have a better time with it, for what it's trying to achieve. However, none of the marketing for the movie was clear on what it was trying to achieve, and that was actually brilliant. That was actually deviously genius what they were doing with that, because what they were doing was they were trying to bank on the mystery of what it was. Because if they were just going to be honest and just flat out say, okay, here's what we're doing, we're going to do an original monster movie that's kind of like Godzilla, but not really, it's our own thing. If they had been truthful and just outright said that, not as many people probably would have come to this movie as they did. So instead, they had a more genius marketing technique, where instead they were like, hey, there's a movie coming out, but we're not gonna even say what it is. Oh, you have to freaking figure it out for yourself, assholes. And that's what got asses into the seat, was curiosity, was all this mystery over what it would wind up being. Yes, that was what got people in the seats. Was the curiosity of what was it going to be. And so, because of that, because of their genius of doing it that way, they decided, hey, let's freaking do that again in 2016. Yes, 8 years later. Jesus Christ, 8 years. Oh God, the time is flying by. I am dying. My body is decaying. Oh God, 8 years. Oh my God, it's already been 8 years. What the fuck? Anyway, yes. So 8 years have passed, and now they're trying to do that again. However, it's almost practically the same results exactly, it seems.
Oh, really? Oh, I've heard that a lot of people actually love this movie. Even more than the first one. They even love it better than the first one.
And yes, that is justifiable to say that. That is justifiable. That is a valid thing to say. However, what I mean by that, though, is by hyping the way they tried to hype this one up now, in akin to the way that they did with the first one, is, however, the way they try to hype it up, akin to the way they hyped up the first one, causes there to be an even bigger letdown. Even if the movie is better than the first one, the way that they set that up for you to see it, for you to get your ass into your seat, would be set up to make you really disappointed, and not in the movie itself. Like I said, you know, if you appreciate the movie for what it's trying to do and succeeding to do, then you'll probably really like it. But if that's not why you came there, if that's not the reason why you're there, then then its qualities might not be enough to make you satisfied. Unfortunately, it might lead up to a disappointment. And what I mean by that is the way that they decided to hype up this movie is to, instead of the mystery as to what the hell it is, although they do kind of do that, is, you know, what the hell is this? But not just that, but this time around, not only are they hyping up the mystery of what is it, like the first one did, but they're also hyping up the mystery as to whether or not this actually has anything to do with the first Cloverfield movie. Yes, that's the way they hyped it up, like, oh, does this have to do with Cloverfield, or does it not? Does it, or does it not? Oh, you're gonna have to find out, oh.
But didn't the producers confirmed, officially exactly whether or not it was connected?
Yes, they did eventually. They did eventually confirm that. However, they confirmed that like right before the movie came out, or at least right when the movie came out. So I'm pretty sure not everyone would have been able to hear that before they went into it. So yeah, there's that. And but we do. But at least we do have to at least commend them for doing that, for being honest and being like, hey, we don't want anyone to go into this movie if they're going solely because they want to see if this is connected to the first one. Okay, we don't want to be too devious.
Well, they might not be, but the studio probably is banking on that.
Yeah, you're right, the studio probably is. We're fat cats. Let's see the people come to see whether or not this is a sequel to the first Cloverfield.
That's supposed to make fun of my nationality.
No. It's supposed to make fun of fat cats, okay? Not specifically British fat cats, just fat cats in general.
Okay, I just can't help but notice that you gave him a British accent.
Is it really British though? Is it really? When you think about it? Anyway, so as I said, the cat's out of the bag. It's not a direct sequel. It doesn't even take place in the same universe. And that's what I was kind of hoping. That's kind of like, I was like, oh God, please let this be in the same universe, please. And of course, I mean, there was an implication that it might have. I mean, there was a chance because in the trailer we see these three people in a bunker, and we hear, I think I'm alone now. And we hear the music, and we see them having a good old jolly time, and then Mary Elizabeth Winstead breaks a freaking plate on John Goodman. It's like, fuck you, I'm getting the fuck out of this bunker. But when she does try to get out, John Goodman warns her, no, there's something horrible out there. We're the only ones left. There's a horrible thing out there. And that led everyone to think, oh, maybe he's referring to the Cloverfield monster. Clover, yes, Clover. Oh, maybe he's referring to that big giant aborted fetus of Godzilla. Maybe that's who he's talking about. Oh.
Well, spoilers. He's not.
Yep, it has nothing to do with that, absolutely nothing. And it was a little sad too, because even though I personally heard about the statement that this is officially not connected to Cloverfield, I still went in sort of hoping it was, because I kind of wanted it to justify why I was there, kind of. Because to be honest, if it wasn't, if this movie did not have Cloverfield in the title, I probably wouldn't have gone. I'm gonna be blatant with you guys. I probably would have not decided to come to this movie. I probably wouldn't have. And but since I did wound up, I'm not sad. I'm not mad that I watched it. I'm not like, oh fuck, there's 80 minutes that I'll never get back. Oh, but by the way, that's another plus of the movie, is that it's actually very, very short. You've got those movies that are freaking billions of days long. I mean, apparently Marvel is just about to release their longest movie ever. Oh god. And Transformers just keeps getting long with every installment. I'm pretty sure by the 18th one it's gonna be like 47 months long. So it is nice. It does feel like a fresh breath of air to have a good old fashioned short movie again. Just 80 minutes. Just 80 measly minutes. You're in and you're out. It's a nice breeze. It's a nice breeze out there. It's like you're in and you're out. It's just like sex. Oh god, I wish that was 80 minutes. Oh fuck.
I think you're getting a little too exposing of your sex life.
What sex life? Anyway, so back to the movie, oh god. So yes, back to the movie. Even though this movie, like I said, is not connected, not at least literally, it's at least not, directly connected to Cloverfield, continuity-wise. However, I can at least see why they decided to give this movie, why to put the word Cloverfield in the title of the movie. I can at least see their reasoning behind that, other than, cash in. Because you could you could easily, point fingers. You could easily point fingers and say like, oh, they're just cashing in on the success of Cloverfield from 2008. Oh, that's what they're doing. They're just trying to get asses in the seats. And while that is probably true, I mean, I got my ass in the seat. It is true. They probably did that partly for that reason, partly. But I can see other reasons. I can see other good reasons why they did that. I believe that the other reason why they probably did that is because they're trying to turn the Cloverfield franchise, or at least trying to make it a franchise now, but not in the way you think. They're not turning Cloverfield into a franchise the way you would think they would. Because the way you would think they would is make a whole universe out of the first Cloverfield movie. Explain more of the origin of the monster, and explain what might have happened to those people in New York. What the fuck happened to them? I mean, we know what happened to a few of them. We know that one died getting bitch slapped by the monster on a bridge, and we know that one got bitten by the monster's pubic lice and exploded. And we know, and we know T.J. Miller got half of his body chomped off by the monster. The monster's like, T.J. Miller, yummy. Oh no, he's not cooked. I'll wait till the fourth Transformers movie to get him all nice and cooked. Okay, bye, T.J. Miller. Yes, we know about that, guys, but not all of the 20-somethings from that movie. The other 20-somethings have very ambiguous fates. We know that the last time we see them is right when the military is about to level New York City and destroy everything in the hopes of destroying the monster. However, we don't know exactly what happens next. We don't see if they survived or not. So there is precedent to keep going. There is. And that's probably what's going to make people even more disappointed, is because they probably because they wanted more to this movie, to see what happens next, to see if the monster actually survived or not, actually survived the giant bomb, and maybe to get a little bit more of his origin. Although, frankly, I think we got pretty much enough. He's just some prehistoric aquatic sea creature who was like dormant and then woke up and was pissed and decided to butt fuck Manhattan, or butt fuck New York, and decided to butt fuck New York. And so you could easily say that they don't really need a sequel. Why not keep a few things in the mystery? Lost does it, although the way Lost did it made people pissed as all fuck. But with the way Cloverfield did it, you didn't necessarily need to know the answers. So I can respect them for that. So I can respect them for them believing, you know what, if we're going to turn Cloverfield into a franchise like everyone wants, let's not do it in the way they expect. And I would have commended them if that was their only reasoning. But then I heard talk that another reason why they decided to keep going with the franchise but not continue the original story, another reason why they said they did that is because they were like, oh, the kaiju genre is overplayed now. Oh, what the fuck? What? The kaiju genre is overplayed? How many movies have we had since Cloverfield? Like a few that are in the kaiju genre? Like, the big ones were, the big ones, I believe, were Pacific Rim and Godzilla and the Attack on Titan movies that I reviewed last year that I kind of regretted a little bit. and a few other things too, but I don't think that's enough for you to be like, oh, it's overplayed now, oh, it's overrated, oh. I mean, that's kind of what people want right now. They want the kaiju genre to return because, zombies are overplayed. They're the ones that are being overplayed. And it would be nice if if giant monsters, also known as kaiju, were the ones to finally get a little bit of resurgence, especially in America, to get a bit of resurgence. Oh, funny I say that considering that, the upcoming Godzilla film from Japan is called Resurgence, but you get what I'm saying, okay? Alright. But at the same time, you know what? I can at least respect them for being like, you know what? This could be a chance to cash in and do another Cloverfield movie, continuing the story because everyone else is doing monsters. But no, let's do something new again because you have to admit back in 2008 this was relatively something that no one else was doing at the time. Giant monsters again. That was kind of that felt kind of fresh back then. Doing that again, after it had been dormant for like a decade, that genre. So I can really see where they're coming from that. And so they decided to go for something else, a different classic sci-fi type genre that hadn't been done in a while, or at least not in the way you would think this movie does it. But yes. So like I said before, so what they decided to do was instead of continuing, instead of turning Cloverfield into a franchise by continuing this story, they did it by making this an anthology series. At least that's what I'm getting from it. They're turning this into an anthology series of different stories in each installment.
Does that mean that we're gonna get another movie with another completely original story?
Probably, and that would be really interesting to see what they do with that one, to see another fresh take and another different theme to explore, different from these two also. Although, I guess it depends on its turn, so we'll see about that. Plus, it's going to be interesting to see what they'll call that one, since the first one was Cloverfield, this one was 10 Cloverfield Lane, so I wonder what the third one would be. Probably 10 Lane. There, it's all full circle somehow, I don't know. Anyway, and plus, although, you know what, I wouldn't mind a third one, so they could make it like a Cloverfield trilogy, and then they'd be like, there you go, there's our Cloverfield trilogy, just like the Cornetto trilogy. Although, the Cornetto trilogy is more tightly connected, because it's got the same actors, and sort of the same little gags, and same approach. Here, however, I would say, there is a few things that connects this movie with Cloverfield, but not in the way you expect. Like I said, they're doing this as an anthology now. Not a series, an anthology series. Not a series in the traditional sense, but a series in the anthology sense. Because I believe that the approach they took to this movie was similar to the first one in that in two main ways. The first way is the approach behind the scenes wise with the budget, because the way they did this is the way they did this is a very small budget. Don't spend too much money on stuff. Really holding back on the special effects and more focusing on the characters, instead of focusing on the universe you're in that has these fantastical stuff happening. Instead of focusing on that, you're instead focusing on the people reacting to that fantastical stuff.
But wait a minute, aren't there a lot of movies that are criticized for doing that?
Yes, that is true, like the Transformers films and the Ninja Turtle films. However, the problem with those movies is that those movies, the creatures that require these special effects, those guys are iconic characters that we grew up with, that we really love, that we bank the movie on. Like, we're banking the movie on them. We're like, this is the reason why we're here, to see them, and that makes it more of a disappointment when we don't get to focus on them. Instead, we're focusing on the human characters reacting to them. Like, oh, hey, I'm Mike Wahlberg, and I'm reacting to Optimus Prime, even though you came here for Optimus Prime, but no, fuck you, I'm here instead. Hey, so that's the problem with that. However, here, these are not iconic characters. These are not even characters. The Cloverfield wasn't a character. He was just a plot device. So what they're doing with these movies is the special effects stuff is not the focal point. The focal point is the human reaction to the special effects stuff. Is the human reaction to if this larger than life paranormal type stuff happens. You know, how would you react to that? And I think that's a positive, because, you know, it makes them relatable. You know, it makes you think about yourself and how you would react to those situations, you know. And so this movie keeps up with that theme by keeping with what the first movie did, and, you know, be very, 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 be very considerate about the budget. You know, keep the budget really low. You know, when we get to the special effects, it's beautiful and it's very awesome and spectacle and stuff, but they're sure to save that for the very end, especially this movie. My God, because with the first one, with Cloverfield, it was the special effects stuff was like here and there. It's like, here it is a little bit over here, and then we're gonna take a break, and then here it is again, and then we're gonna take a break. They sprinkled that throughout the movie. Here, on the other hand, they saved it for the very, very end, for the climax. That's where they're like, hey, okay, you waited, all right, you were good little boys and girls, so here you go. Here's all the special effects, mumbo jumbo, out of this world awesomeness. Oh, no. Yes, so that's how they do it that way. Instead, with this movie. And also, so that was the first way they keep with the theme. But the other way they keep with the theme is by having one type of movie interrupted by another type of movie. Yes, they do that sort of thing.
Wait a minute, isn't that annoying when people do that, when you think you're watching a certain movie, and then it gets interrupted by a completely different one?
Yeah, sometimes that can be a little bit, that can be a little bit deceiving, but but I think that it's more the reason to do that is more to for it to mirror real life, so sort of to mirror what real life is all about, because that's sort of what real life is like, where you've got, you're focused on something and you're all about that, and if something completely out of this world happens to you, you're gonna be like, holy fuck, that came the fuck out of nowhere. I mean, let's face it, if we were in the place of the people from the first movie, of course it'll feel like one movie got interrupted by a different movie. It's like you were focusing on your own life, which is nothing like, has nothing to do with giant monsters. That was not even on your mind, and then all of a sudden, holy shit, fuck, giant monsters. And that's how the first movie was. The first movie started out, the way the first movie began was sort of like, it was like a movie, a coming of the age movie about 20-somethings, living in the big city and dealing with relationship stuff and, self-discovery, and it was almost like a romantic comedy, a romantic comedy that got interrupted by a kaiju film. Yes, it was a romantic comedy that got interrupted by a kaiju, by a giant monster movie. And so that's how real life would probably be, it would probably be like that, like maybe your life is a teen comedy, or maybe your life is a romantic tragedy, or maybe your life is a psychological thriller. Hopefully it's not a psychological thriller, but if it is, then holy fuck, how messed up is your fucking life if that's what that's like. Oh my god. Oh fuck. Oh shit. Oh man. Sorry man. I'm pulling for you. But anyway, let's say your movie's like that, and then it gets interrupted by this. It gets interrupted by a completely different movie. Because there's a lot of movies out there where a normal character gets thrusted into this, fantastical world or fantastical situation, and we don't really get a sense of, how they respond to this, or at least we don't really get a sense of how much this impacts them. I mean, sure, we might get a little bit of like, oh my god, what the fuck, and sometimes we don't even get that. Sometimes like, okay, whatever, okay, fine, whatever, this is my life now, okay. But however, it is important to see what their life was before that, and that's why I think it justifies that way of going at it that the first movie did. You have your young adult romantic comedy that gets interrupted by a monster movie. Oh, na 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 na.
So what technique does this movie employ then?
Well, the way this movie goes at it is, it also follows that same formula, kind of at least, where, it's one movie that gets interrupted by a different movie, but the way they do it is having a psychological thriller gets interrupted by, if I say what it is, I might spoil it.
We'll just put a spoiler warning in the description. It's fine. Just spoil the fuck out of it.
Okay, I'll spoil it. It's a psychological thriller along the lines of probably Stephen King's Misery. In fact, this movie actually feels very much like a Stephen King piece. It's probably an homage to Stephen King work. Probably. I can have the feeling that this is probably like their way of homaging Stephen King. Like the way that J.J. Abrams was homaging Steven Spielberg when he was making Super 8. And that's what he was doing here, is homaging a different Steven. The King type of Steven.
What the fuck were you just about to say?
Oh, that's right. Okay, alright. Okay, so this movie is a psychological thriller interrupted by an alien invasion movie. It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine.
That's where it was all a build-up to. All that build-up. And that's what we were going to do with it. An alien invasion. Ah, God, what a cliche type story.
Oh, really, is it? Well, that's what they said about Cloverfield. Like, oh, giant monsters are cliche. But much like that one, much like the way they did that one, when you really thought about it, how often nowadays do we really do get alien invasion films?
Okay, let me see. There was Skylines. There was Super 8, which you just mentioned. Let's see here. We had the bloody Avengers film. That was an alien invasion. Alright. Battle fucking ship. That's right. We're about to get friggin' Independence Day 2. Alright? Independence Day 2. Okay? There's been tons of alien invasion films recently.
Oh, really? And how many of those have been, original, though, huh?
I just mentioned Skylines and Super 8, and also Attack the Block.
Yes, Attack the Block. Yes, that one was also original. Okay, I'll grant you that. However, be that as it may, like I said before, you have to admit, most of those are adaptations of stuff, okay? Most of those are. So very few times do we ever really get an original alien invasion film. Very few times do we do that.
Oh, I just remember The Fifth Wave.
Wait, was that even an alien invasion film? I don't even freaking know that one.
I think it's best not worth exploring with that one.
Okay, fine. But listen to me, Abomination. Let me open your closed mind.
Okay, I'll unlock the door, but I'm going to leave you to deal with the knob, so you better start pulling.
That sounded sexual. You can't take it back now. So when was the last time we really had a basic, good old-fashioned, just very simple, just good old-fashioned alien invasion film?
I guess not in a really, really long time.
Exactly. And that is what warrants this movie. It's a good old-fashioned alien invasion movie. Alright? That's what it is. Now, it might not be that at the beginning, but I think what they're going at it is, it's all about the build-up to it being an alien invasion film. That's what they're building up. It's a mystery. It's a mystery going on.
But doesn't that mean that this is not a good old-fashioned alien invasion film? It's still trying to do it in a different, unique way, by presenting it as something else leading up to an alien invasion.
Yes, that's the whole point of it.
And guess what? That's already been done. Boy, Super 8! Super 8 already did that!
Okay, fine, I admit it, alright? Maybe Super 8 did that already, where it was all about the setup to being an alien invasion. Alright, fine, because with that movie, yes, I do agree. It sort of was also banking on the idea of mystery as to what exactly is going on here, and they don't pay that off in the marketing. Instead, they pay that off in the movie by revealing, surprise, it was an alien invasion. And, however, that was not an alien invasion. Let's face that, that's not really what that was. That was an alien visitation film. Yes, that's what Spielberg is known for. He doesn't do alien invasion films. He does alien visitation. Like Close Encounters and E.T. Both of those, the aliens weren't trying to invade stuff. They weren't trying to invade shit. They just wanted to visit, to see how we were doing, and be all cute and adorable, and be like, hey guys, we're little cute aliens, yay, let's have fun, yay. It was the humans who caused the conflict in those. It was the humans that were being assholes to the aliens, like, hey, what the fuck you aliens, man. And that's how Steven Spielberg does it.
Well, not War of the Worlds.
Well, that was an adaptation, okay? He was limited to what he can do, okay? He probably wanted those anorexic triceratops to be friendly, like, hey, we're anorexic triceratops, let's have fun, let's go on parties, Tom Cruise, let's party, Tom Cruise, and, but they were like, no, this is an adaptation of a movie where aliens are evil, and they need to be stopped by diseases or something, I don't know, fuck it. So, when J.J. Abrams decided, you know what, let's do this again, I'm gonna get a movie director and I'm gonna get a bunch of people because I'm not gonna do it myself. No, I was doing Star Wars at this point. No, fuck it. No, what he thought was like, okay, I'm gonna get these people together and we're gonna do this again, and it's not enough that I already did a film where I build it up all to a mystery, and the payoff of the mystery was that it was an alien visitation film. No, I have not satisfied my tastes yet. No, let's do it again, but this time it's all a lead up to an alien invasion this time, not a visitation, an invasion.
I still call bullshit.
Yeah, okay, fine. Okay, maybe it's a little bit of a stretch, but it's a stretch I'm worth doing, okay? I don't care if I pull a hamstring. So that's why we got this movie. It's all about the build-up to the alien invasion. And that's something worth banking on, I believe, or at least worth selling your movie on, is the big mystery, much like Cloverfield, except to a bigger degree, and the bigger degree it's going up to is what is the movie? What are they setting up? What's the big thing they're leading up to? Because it could have been a whole lot of different things. I mean, for some people, it might have still been the possibility of what was in the other movie, like the Cloverfield monster, but there was a good chance that it might have been nothing at all. I mean, because the way, the thing that the movie is all about is, let's talk about that now. What this movie is about is, it's about Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and she has a horrible breakup. She decides to go on a road trip, you know, maybe to find herself, or you know, maybe move to a friend's place. I think it's to like go to her mother's, you know, for some moral support after this horrible breakup. And so when she goes there, her car gets crashed. It gets crashed horribly, and she wakes up in a friggin' dungeon. And she's under the person that she's under control of, after she's all chained up and stuff, and she has a cast, and where the fuck are her pants? Oh wait, her pants are over there. But still, it's freaky as all fuck that whoever did this to her took off her freaking pants, and the person behind all this is John Goodman. No! Oh no, Roseanne fucked his mind too much.
Wait a minute, didn't he die in the series finale of that show?
Yeah, stop reminding me to be depressed. Oh god. Oh, they decided to go the same direction of that as they did with How I Met Your Mother. Oh Jesus. Anyway, yes, so John Goodman is the mastermind of this. Well, not exactly mastermind, but I'll get that into in a second. So so it seems like he's kidnapped Mary Elizabeth Winstead and held her in this dungeon, but she slowly finds reason from John Goodman why he did this. And the reason why he did this is because he at least claims that this is a bunker, that this is a safety bunker, and he's put her here for protection. Because right when he crashed into her, the apocalypse happened. At least that's what he's claiming happened. He claims that the apocalypse has happened, and he offers refuge for Mary Elizabeth Winstead, along with a hillbilly construction worker. So her, the hillbilly construction worker, and James P. Sullivan are all in this bunker. So the big mystery that this movie is leading up to is whether or not that's bullshit. Is whether or not John Goodman is telling the friggin' truth. I mean, there's some evidence that it might not be, because when Mary Elizabeth Winstead eventually does try to break free and does what the whole teaser trailer was showing us, was attempting to escape, she sees a woman all of a sudden being like, "Oh, let me in." And at first I was like, okay, this seems like it was kind of staged. Like, it looks almost like John Goodman hired that actress to pretend to have a horrible disease and then die right in front of Mary Elizabeth Winstead. And it looks so convincing. It's like it's almost like that scene is played out to make you purposely think that it's all a hoax, that she's not really dying, that lady who has this horrible disease. Because the way she acts is like, it's like, come on, just let me in, just let me in there, let me in, you friggin' bitch. It's like she's doing it like in an annoyed way. She's not doing it in like an actual way where you would actually be dying in that, like, actual legitimate frustration. It's not in that way. It's like it's almost like it's purposely being acted, and so that's what helps the movie, is the big mystery, is the big doubt. Like, is this movie going to turn out like The Village? By the way, I'm about to spoil The Village. Is it going to turn out like The Village, where the twist of the movie is that there was no supernatural stuff whatsoever. It was all a hoax. It was all fake. The monsters were just people in costumes. I could have gotten it away if it wasn't for you meddling kids. They weren't even, it wasn't even an old-timey country. It like takes place in modern times, and it's just a bunch of rich people who decided to start their own society and make sure that it wasn't disturbed by the modern man. And so, is it going to be like that, where it turns out to be, false the whole time? Because when we were building up to whether or not John Goodman was lying about that, it felt very much like a Stephen King novel. And the thing is, either way you go at it, whether the twist is there or not, like whether it really is an alien invasion movie or it's not, either way you could have gone, it still could have felt very much like a Stephen King story, because Stephen King does both of those type of stories. He does the paranormal type stuff, like the aliens and the ghosts and all that kind of stuff. He does that all the time, but he also does psychological stuff too. Yes, he also does down to earth type stories too. He does that too, like Misery. It felt very much like a remake of Misery, except with the gender switch. So you could say that this movie did the whole gender switching thing right before Ghostbusters is about to do it.
So what if it was not an alien invasion movie? What if it actually did end with a twist, revealing that it was never aliens in the first place? That it really was just John Goodman making it all up?
Well, I think that it would not have been necessarily a letdown, because even without the aliens at the end of the movie, to reveal the twist that yes, there are aliens, even without that, I believe that this movie still would have definitely sufficed as a good old-fashioned psychological thriller and even horror movie, because instead of the aliens, we would have John Goodman in its place. Yes, John Goodman, being creepy as all fuck. This right here is a career-defining moment for him. I mean, I know he's already kind of an icon, or, well, not necessarily an icon, but he is well known. Like, I'm pretty sure everyone has at least seen 2 or 3 John Goodman movies, so his name is out there already. But this is what I believe will get him a bit more recognition than he already has. This right here is what's gonna make more people than ever before wanting to get John Goodman in their movies. This right here. Because this performance is something that not really John Goodman has ever really has done before. I mean, yes, he's done villain roles before, Everyone knows about his performance in Hangover Part 3. Yes, we know about that. And he was also a villain in The Gambler and B-Movie. However, this is a very, very different type of villain. Yes, this is one of those mentally ill villains. Yes, there is no doubt that he is mentally not well in the movie. But what's very unique about it is how he's not mentally well. Because he's very much like a man-child, like just this little boy in an old man's body in this film, a big burly old man's body, just this little boy. Because the way he presents himself is almost the way like little kids present themselves to adults. They're trying to put on an act, and that's almost what he's trying to do, is put on an act. It's almost like the way he treats Mary Elizabeth Winstead and the hillbilly construction worker However, the way he treats them is almost like what he would do with toys. Like hello toy, hello other toy, these are my toys, and these are my things, and these are all those things. And it's very much like that. Like his delivery sounds like he's very almost prepubescent, even though he's a big burly old man. He sounds almost like he's a little kid, you know, like he's trying to present himself as an adult, even though he's not. So he's very much unhinged. He's very much, there is something legitimately wrong with him, and that's scary. You know, especially when we get to the end of the movie and we find out that there actually are aliens. Because you would think that the revelation of aliens might deflate the threat of John Goodman. Like, oh, why should we be afraid of this man-child when there's these aliens? Shouldn't we be afraid of the aliens instead of this man-child? However, it actually adds to it. It actually adds to the threat, because now you're like, holy shit, it was bad enough that there were aliens, but also Mary Elizabeth Winstead would have also had to deal with something else too. This big burly man who's basically a child. But guess what? Children don't know the difference between right and wrong if they're not raised properly. And that's how John Goodman is. He just has this gun and he just shoots people when he feels like it. And that's what he does to the hillbilly construction worker. He kills him. Oh, God.
Let's face it. I think we were all seeing that coming. I think everyone saw that coming.
Yeah, I think so. There were only three ways you could possibly go with that character, the hillbilly construction worker. Either A, he turns out to be also a bad guy along with John Goodman. B, he sacrifices himself and friggin' dies. Or C, both. He's both a horrible person like John Goodman, and he dies. However, no, it wasn't C. It was B. He friggin' dies, and he gets and he has to go into a soup, a sizzly acid soup. Oh. That leaves us with Mary Elizabeth Winstead having to put together her Bludnovsky cosplay from this rubber ducky shower curtain. She has to put that together to get out of there, because even though she knows that John Goodman is clearly deranged and delusional, there's still a chance. Like, she saw valid proof that there could still be a chance he's telling the truth, that there really is an apocalypse going on. So she takes the precautions, of course, and puts together the suit and escapes there. So there's still the chance. So she still has to do that, but not without having this climactic battle with John Goodman that causes John Goodman to be horribly scarred by the acid, by the bubbly acid. Yes. He was probably more mature beforehand, but something snapped in his brain that caused him to no longer be an adult, to no longer have rationality. And so when the apocalypse happened and he saw it happen, he saw it as an opportunity to realize, wait a minute, something big out of the ordinary is happening. That means it's okay for me to think irrationally because of what's happening. That means it's okay for me to do horrible, weird things because weird things are happening. And that's probably what set the dominoes for him to do all this, including shaving his face.
Yeah, and awkwardly dancing to 1980s music.
Yeah, that was weird how he decided to turn on the jukebox and started shaking his butt. Yay, I'm John Goodman and I'm dancing and it's awkward and I don't care because I'm John Goodman. I'm afraid of Christian Wig. So yes, so John Goodman shaves his beard and it's really weird why he shaves his beard. I mean, I have no idea why.
Maybe it's because this was right after he killed the hillbilly construction worker.
Yeah, that could be the reason. That could be the reason why he shaved, because he's like, oh, now I have to be extra formal in front of Mary Elizabeth Winstead. But at the same time, however, I can't help but think that this might have been like a reason, like outside of the film, like it might have been like a real world reason. Like maybe it was a pickup shot, and or maybe they took a break from filming, and John Goodman had to do a different part, had to go do a different role for something else, and it required him to shave his face. So when he came back for this movie, they were like, oh fuck, let's screw it. Let's just not even give an explanation. Let's just film our parts, whatever. So yeah, I don't know if that was intentional or not. That might have been an outside of the film decision type thing. I think that might have been them having to adjust to real life or something. But anyway, who cares? Because that's when we get our climax, or at least our first climax, between Mary Elizabeth Winstead and John Goodman. Because John Goodman, as I said, got burned by the horrible acid. Oh, and Mary Elizabeth Winstead is climbing through the air ducts, and as she is, we're hearing the horrible moans from John Goodman, and we're like, oh, what does he look like? Oh my God, what does he look like now that he's been horribly scarred? Oh, he's probably gonna look really ugly. Oh, but since I'm a villain, I'm gonna embrace it. It's gonna be like, oh cool, he's gonna look really badass. And then when they finally revealed what he looks like, his horrible deformity, oh, his face was completely untouched. It was just around his face. It was just like around his face. That was weird. What the fuck?
Yeah, how come it didn't get his face? It just got all around his face.
I don't know. Maybe John Goodman was like, oh, I love my face. No, don't burn my face, even though it's CGI. Like maybe John Goodman doesn't understand the difference between real life and CGI. Maybe he thought, no, don't burn my face. I like my face. But the point is that this makes Mary Elizabeth Winstead want even more to get the fuck out of there. So she does, and she leaves John Goodman to get burned up even more. Oh, does this mean he'll get burned up to the point where we might see a horribly disfigured, really maimed, and horribly fucked up John Goodman effect? Yes, let's see that. Let's see him even more fucked up. Oh, wait a minute, the bunker explodes. Oh, okay. Alright, so we're done with John Goodman. He's done, he's over. And Mary Elizabeth Winstead is finally outside. She's finally somewhere in a field or somewhere. Oh, are there going to be ghost baseball players sprouting from the corn? Oh, what's going to happen? Well, as I said before, this is a freaking alien invasion film, so what the fuck do you think would happen?
Well, we didn't think that when we were watching the movie.
Yes, but I spoiled it already, so what's the point? So yes, alien invasion, yes, we finally get the aliens. Sure, it's no Cloverfield monster, and there was a millisecond where I actually began to think, like, wait a minute, there's a giant monster over there. Is that Clover? Is that little Clovey? Well, the answer is, well, of course it wouldn't, because as I said before, Clover is not an alien. At least that's what we're supposed to believe. He's not an alien. He's a dormant amphibious dinosaur that was dormant for millions of years. So that's not him. No, this is completely different. This is aliens. And there's this one alien who's got like a whole bunch of eyes all around his big old puffy face. And he's got like an anus for a mouth. And he's like, hey, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, look at my anus. Look at my anus. and Mary Elizabeth Winstead is, of course, having none of that. And he's like, no, fuck you, alien, you little alien pervert. So she punches the shit out of the alien. And then she gets in her car so she can finally leave this fucked up movie. But that's not before the giant alien that I said that I at first thought was Clover, but then realized, nope, that's not Clover, picks her up, and this alien is the friggin' spaceship. Yes, that's the spaceship that we saw a few minutes earlier. That was the first confirmation, yep, this is an alien invasion movie. and it's picking her up. It's got these big giant ass tentacles, and it's about to eat her up. And it's like a creature and a spaceship at the same time. It's kind of like those Leviathans in the Avengers, except UFO style. So right as that's about to happen, Elizabeth Weinstead is like, hey, giant big ass alien, would you like a treat? Would you like friggin' flame that I put on fire? Would you like this piece of fire? And the alien is like, okay, sure. Gulp. Nom, nom, nom. Giant beak eats it. Nom, nom, nom. Oh shit, I'm allergic to fire, and so the alien spaceship friggin' explodes and drops Mary Elizabeth Weinstead in her car, and her car crashes again. And so she wakes up to see the alien spaceship explode a couple times and crash into the corn. Oh no, those poor ghost baseball players. And then Mary Elizabeth Weinstead is like, okay, this car is fucked up as all hell. Let me take the other car. Let me take the one John Goodman uses. So she gets into it, and she drives out. She drives into the road and runs over a mailbox, and the mailbox says 10 Cloverfield Lane. By the way, in case you forgot what movie you were watching, 10 Cloverfield Lane. Yes, unlike the first movie, we have an in-movie reason why we call this Cloverfield, because that's the name of the setting.
Wasn't the explanation was that it was the name of the organization from the government that was dealing with the monster? Wasn't that called Cloverfield?
Yeah, sure, but they sure as hell didn't make it clear in the movie like they're doing here. And so Mary Elizabeth Weinstead is finally leaving all this fucked upness, finally gonna just relax, go on a vacation like she was doing before. Except the first time she did it was because she was trying to recover from a bad breakup, but this time it's because of freaking aliens and John Goodman wanting to be friends with her, and a giant, big, burly, scary man-child. So now she's finally gonna escape all that. But then the radio starts acting up, and the radio is a news radio explaining that there's that people are trying to fight back from the aliens. They are succeeding at it, but they still need hope. And they need medical attention. They need all medics there. And as Mary Elizabeth Weinstead has shown throughout the movie, she's able to do that. She's able to sew people up, just like she can sew clothes up. So she realized, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna help. I'm gonna help with this alien war. And you will never probably see that because we never paid off the first movie. So why the fuck would you think we would pay off this movie? So fuck you guys. I'm gonna go help the human resistance. Yay! End of movie. And that was 10 Cloverfield Lane. Whew. So, how did you feel about it? What were your thoughts on the movie, Abomination?
Well, I thought it was still a big letdown. I mean, I can understand where you're coming from, what with your explanations behind their doing things, but I don't think it was enough. I still felt disappointed. I still felt deceived. They were clearly trying to bank on the title of the first movie.
Well, however, I'm gonna beg to differ with you on that, because I think that the whole point of this movie was to homage in all types of ways older sci-fi films, older films from the 50s and 60s, and even to an extent the 80s and 70s. And it's trying to homage those in the both positive ways and the negative ways. Of course, in the positive ways is, the build-up to it, because there's a lot of movies that do that too, like Close Encounters. It's all about the build-up to the aliens, and that's what this movie does too. But however, in other ways too, it's also homaging independent, low-budget films of yesterday that were all about the subtleness, simplicity of keeping it, of keeping it in one location, and instead saving your budget for the star power, of course. You got John Goodman there, and also in the also saving up all that high octane sci-fi action for the climax, saving it for that. And you know what? It also tries to embody the negative aspects of those old types of movies too. And guess what? There's a lot of old movies out there that would always try to bank on stuff that the movie wouldn't even have. Like there's a movie that's like that has like Frankenstein in the title and doesn't even have Frankenstein in it. And so you could argue that the movie is trying to homage those types of movies too by doing that. Either that, or it's still, like I said before, the whole anthology thing. Because keep in mind, this is what Halloween did too. With the third installment, they decided, you know what? Let's just make this into an anthology. We're gonna keep the name, but we're gonna do a different story, and we're gonna keep the theme of this being about Halloween. Alright? We're just gonna do it in a different way. We're just gonna make a horror movie that takes place in Halloween, but we're gonna do it in a different way. And this movie is sort of like that. So I think it's trying to homage the old types of ways of doing movies, both in the good ways and the bad ways. And I think that's why they try to bank on the success of the first Cloverfield movie. That might be why. Because they were scared. Because this movie has a lot of kahunas, okay? This movie has a lot of kahunas. Because there's a lot of stuff about this movie that probably would not attract to a mainstream audience. The uncomfortableness of it, the awkwardness of it, the way the characters interact with each other is very uncomfortable, but that's the point of it. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. You're supposed to feel uncomfortable about it. And even though you could do that, and even though there are other movies that bank on that too, and they're successful for it, like Silence of the Lambs and stuff, this movie was also trying to appeal to, sci-fi, to science fiction, to science fiction viewers. And even though it was very common to combine those types of things, like psychological thrillers and aliens, they're right there, aliens. I just said it. Even though that was a common thing to do back then, we are very much we are very much simplified nowadays. We do sort of like to separate these off into groups, and it's like your big sci-fi epics are only big sci-fi epics, and your psychological uncomfortable thrillers are only psychological uncomfortable thrillers. Is like we put them all in groups, and so for them to like combine them again recently, it's like that's kind of less common to do. And there are movies every now and then that aren't afraid to still do that, like Ex Machina, like that did that. It combined extra big sci-fi themes with smaller psychological type stuff too. But at the same time, how do you do that to a mainstream audience to ensure, a success? Because maybe right now Paramount Pictures is in a situation maybe where they need all their movies, or at least right now, to be big successes, and so they were scared of this movie in particular not doing that. So maybe it was like, okay, you know what? Let's attach this to the Cloverfield title because either we play it safe and we put as much control in this movie as possible, and tell them no, you can't do this, and no, you can't do that, or we let the filmmakers do whatever the hell they want to do, for the sake of filmmaking, we're gonna let the filmmakers do what they feel is necessary for the film, and instead we'll just try to take a precaution and attach a familiar name to the title. And that's how you get Cloverfield there. So it might have been a business decision. It was like, okay, we'll give these directors all their creative freedom to make this movie that, that might not appeal to average moviegoers, and we'll just give some familiarity to the title of the movie to ensure a box office success. So I think that's what's going on there, and I think that was worth it. Because if they didn't do that, if they did give an original name to the movie, it might have meant the cost of, a lot of studio control, making this movie way more mainstream and traditional, and that would have taken away the uniqueness from it. That would have taken away the memorableness of it. So I think it was worth it. I think that was worth doing that, alright? I think that was worth it, okay? So sure, you're gonna have people who might not like it, but guess what? That's how it is with all movies, even the ones that do try to appeal to everybody, It's nice to have movies that are specified to particular people, because those people will like it. Yes, sure, you're gonna have some people who won't like it, but it is better to completely satisfy people who would like it than to partly satisfy people who would like it and partly satisfy people who wouldn't like it, but overall you just have a bunch of people who are all partly satisfied instead of having people who are completely satisfied. And that's where I'll end off on this review.
Well, that was a little bit different than how you usually do it.
I'm trying to mix it up a little bit. I don't know. It's like, ever since that robot told me about the apocalypse, I've been wondering, maybe I should rethink life in case he really is true.
Well, what was that robot like?
It had the voice of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Now you should probably ignore it.
Yeah, you're probably right. Alright, okay, let's rate the film. Okay, do you think that the folks at home should either watch the film or get horribly burned by acid and then get their face smooched by the anus mouth of an alien?
The anus mouth of an alien, because, oh god, I already explained all of it.
Yes, and I'll say no, avoid the anus mouth alien and instead give it a watch because the reasons that I just gave. Alright, okay. Oh, God. Oh, boy. All right. Whoa. Man, that was something, wasn't it?
I just realized something that actually kind of makes this film redeemable for me.
Really? What's that?
Well, it was as you said, it was trying to use themes from the other movie, but not too much of the themes. And let's just thank God that one of the themes that they did not take from the previous movie was the idea of found footage. Thank God.
Oh yeah, found footage. Yes, that was one of the themes that this movie did not continue from the first Cloverfield movie, was the idea of found footage. Yes, that probably pleased a lot of people who were probably like have motion sickness and would probably would vomit at the sight of that. At the idea of found footage. It's all shaky and it's like, oh, so at least they don't have to worry about that. Because that is gonna be saved for my next movie to review. Yes, that movie has that effect. It's not found footage though. No, it's not from the point of view of a camera. It's from the point of view of eyes. So that probably means that it's gonna be even more vomit-inducing. Yay, I can't wait to risk my life.
Oh God, aren't you afraid as all fuck?
No. Because even though that's my next movie, that is not going to be the next time you see me. No, you're going to see me before that. Yes.
What, you've got another review before that one?
No. The next time you're going to see me, before I do that review, you're going to see me do something else other than a review. No, you're going to see me conduct an interview. Yes, I will be conducting my very first interview. Yes, I am starting a new series in which I interview fellow supervillains. Yes, I got the idea when I was reviewing the Deadpool movie that these supervillains are suffering from horrible traumatic events in their life. And I need to be the one to help cope with that. I need to help them cope, and I will do that by showing the world their story, by giving an in-depth interview from each of them of their horrible traumatic experiences. I am going to sit down with a fellow supervillain who had a very huge, just giant traumatic event happen. Just awful. Just huge on big epic crossover proportions. Oh man. So join me next time when I sit with this individual and talk about his experiences of this huge ordeal that he went through. I'll see you then. You know, now that I think of it, there's been a lot of people who haven't been receiving my calls. I've been trying to do another review with that lady who got her fucked up face from Catwoman. I haven't seen her since the Ninja Turtles movie. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, where are these people?
Oh, people have their lives to live, it's that kind of thing,
Yeah, you're probably right. It's probably just the butterflies in my stomach, It's probably just all this anticipation of, creating this new groundbreaking interview series.
Yeah, that's totally it. Yeah, totally.
Congratulations, Miss Waller. Graviton thinks you're dead.
Good. It's all a part of the plan. Now that he thinks I'm dead, he'll never know that I'm the reason behind the recent disappearances of the past and present.
Yes, pretty soon you're gonna control everything.
You're damn right, Mr. Boomerang.
It's Captain Boomerang.
From what I heard, you're just Boomerang.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and once I get control, I'm gonna shut it all down.